So we're going to start at 6 o'clock. So welcome here at Insync for the first chapter event after the holidays.
I was pleased to host you again. It's for us it's a yearly event, and it's always nice to see the best of the best in project management around. And we always try to explain something about our company. This year I was sitting, it's like, it's the same story as last year. We didn't change the company that much. And if you then think about what are you going to tell your audience, are we going to say the same things? We're still doing SAP, we're still doing it in a different way. So I chose to give you a little bit of an insight on how we deal with people in our company. And we think people are one of our most valuable assets, our most valuable asset actually. And if you translate that, then artificial intelligence is actually not the thing that immediately comes to mind when we think about our company. But then again, we have people that really believe in artificial intelligence and also make demo cases of that. But that's a whole different story. Our team builds together with the customer towards the future. There's a lot in that. I will save you mission and vision, but there's a lot in the fact that we build with a team together with a customer on their future. And that means you have to build your company. And that means you have to build your company by people that build on themselves. So we invest hugely in people and people's careers, people's development paths. Martijn is a nice example of that. He joined the company as a junior, and in the meantime he's leading a team and heading for more. If you look at good people, top sports, we have an example a little bit later, maybe I'll show it, maybe not. Then the next thing you do is of course try to get those good people and get them to work like a team. A good football player is nothing. You need a good team, and you need to have a team where the team is actually more important than the individual player. And that's also how we work with our people. And together we're stronger. And then the nice thing is, today is good, is nice, is a good thing. But you have to actually go a little bit further. You have to continuously challenge your people to look for the things that are relevant tomorrow and the day after. So we ask our people, you're an expert in your profession. If I look at Martijn and I ask him about project management, I've done a few projects, but he's still doing them. I can learn from him, not the other way around. And that means for all the people in their profession, we actually need to work with them, and we need to challenge them to bring out the best for tomorrow. And so we have innovation boards where we actually ask people for their dreams and help them to make them come true. And if you do all that, then actually on the other side you have a customer who's no longer getting consultancy hours and an SAP project like any other, but they get something that we're proud of, that adds value when we thought about their problems before they came to us. So we can work a lot more on delivering solutions, delivering products that we already thought of, and more challenge the customer, like, take a look at this is really nice for you, it can help you to the next step. And that's actually what we try to challenge our people to come that far towards solutions for customers. This is a trainer trying to get all these young guys to move in the right way. All the guys go in. He says, guys, come in, it's starting to rain. One left. Listen close for the Dutch ones. And the text is, not again. And there's one left outside. Trying to improve, trying to learn continuously. And I found this little gap. You said, guys, come in, and I'm a girl, so I can stay outside. And if you look at the smile, they're like, I did it again. That's a bit of the story. If you look at that, then that is actually what you want in your people in a company. I love this movie. The guys in the company get nuts of it. But every time I play this movie, it's like, but this is actually what you want to achieve. You make yourself better. Every minute of the day you're practicing to make yourself better. You're finding the edge, the glitch, to pass the rules and regulations. Probably I shouldn't say that to project management, but then again, there's always this shortcut that we take to get things done. And she does it, huh? And in the end, she's the best player in the world. And that takes hard work and takes walking on the edge once in a while.
Okay. Now I have to now having it in the phone.
Can you click on it?
Yeah.
And if you look at that, that is how an individual should behave in our company. But if you look at team play, then PMI is of course a strong partner for us. But we continuously work with partnerships. We continuously try to build an ecosystem that says we as a SAP company, we're not the center of the world. There's people more important than us. There's businesses more important than us. And then we have a tool. And it's in that sequence that we should operate our projects. And if you look at how we then run in the ecosystem, then we work with GPMIP. It's a nice mix of letters, but it's a different company. And they work in mergers and acquisitions. We're good at mergers and acquisitions, but we're good at the execution of it from an IT perspective. So we find the bridge to get a complete solution for our customers. We do that with everything that we do, whether it's in project management, interim management, whether it's in warehousing, in VAT. We're good at it from our perspective. We think we're top 3 in the things that we do. But then on the other side, we always need partners that make it strong on the business side. And if you look at innovations, we have a bi-weekly moment in the company where people can present their ideas. And if that's a good idea, we believe in it. And we found it with money, we found it with time, attention. And we try to get the people that come with that idea to drive it themselves. And we help them, but we don't take it over. People run the show. And so we have an innovation board, and if you have incubators, then we really productize it. And the guy that brings it, or the girl that brings it, is actually the owner of the product, will drive it. In 2 weeks' time, we're on Coöperatieplein. That's a social housing fair. And in the social housing fair, that's one of the things that we're demoing. Is actually an IoT solution, where the IoT sensors in a building are built in a Lego case, where if you come in, for instance, that Lego case and you heat one of the rooms, then that will trigger automatically a message to a cloud platform towards the system, and will trigger in the others in our operational system service orders. Those are things, everybody knows you can do that. It's a technology thing. But the nice thing is we have some guys that really love IoT, and they come with this demo case, and we give them a stage by going to the fair with their solution. And that's how you make people big. And the fun thing is, and this is then more numbers that result out of that action, because we measured for the first time how likely it is that a customer of us would recommend InSync towards a colleague or customer, colleague or friend. And we thought, like, let's take an initial count, let's measure something, we can probably learn from it, and then we can improve. I don't know who knows this NPS scoring. 20 to 30% is a really, really good score. We got this as a first measurement. And so now we're proud, and now we still don't know what to improve. So that is what I wanted to tell you, as how as InSync are we in the game, instead of telling you the same story from last year and the year before. I hope you can pick up some of this. And I hope that after this session, Martijn comes in with some artificial intelligence solutions that we can bring into our innovation.
The pressure is on.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Our speaker of the day is also going to give a workshop in 2 parts. Is Hatice. Well, she's going to teach us something about artificial intelligence.
Hi and welcome everybody. It's very nice to be here today, and I'm actually very excited how to succeed with AI as a manager. So the goal of today's meeting is that I want to help you to succeed with your project management, and especially in a project with AI, if you have already experience with that, or if you never had any experience in this, and we'll have a new project. And so my goal is to share with you the knowledge that I have with being one of the developers in this algorithm field, to give you my knowledge and support you in your project management. So as I said, my name is Hatice Tavlı, and I am a mathematician, and I founded a company beginning this year where we help companies to bring alive their artificial intelligence projects and help them with the data strategy. And yeah, a little bit about me. I was always a math person. I love math. That's why I always wanted to become a math teacher, actually, when I was younger. And then after high school, I decided to drop the teacher part but stick with math. So I started studying mathematics in 2006. And I studied applied mathematics, which is basically most of the time analyzing some data with algorithms and trying to develop new algorithms and trying to figure out or read out from data what is the input of this data. And I got involved in the medical field because there was like a season for me where I was like for 2 years not diagnosed correctly. So I was sick for 2 years, and after that experience, I was very curious to find out why there's like a lot of data. The doctors have all the information, they have all the knowledge, and why are they still not able to really find what the source of this disease is. And after that, I had like a lot of projects where I helped in developing in drug development or in genetics, or also in electrical engineering, where we would use the data to predict some outcomes that will help them implement something. So for one example, we had in the electrical engineering, they wanted to predict the life of the battery. It was a pedelec, this bicycles with the self-charging batteries. And the goal was to predict from the information from the data that is measured, how long will this battery take to recharge again, and how long will the lifespan be. So this was like a project for my students' time. And after that, I started to work with companies. But for today's agenda, I didn't know really what you want to know, so that's why I'm trying to like keep it very open. So if you have any question at any time, just raise your hand and ask. And if you have a specific question, just ask for it. And I will start with from data to data-driven to AI capable. How like I will give you a case study. How one of our clients actually became more data-driven in this case. So winning with data-driven strategy, barriers to transfer for the transformation, and how to become data-driven and from planning to progress. And I prepared also some sheets that we would have at the end like a session where it's on you. So you would like kind of write down the project steps, and I would just like try to help out to like set up like an initial AI project plan, which is like very fundamental. That was the idea. And at the second part, I will talk about when AI goes to hunt talents. There's a big problem with finding talents for the team if we are trying to build a team, and also the question if you really need to have your own AI team, or if it's enough you just to have your own IT team and then just really get the expertise for AI from outside. So I just will talk about, and at the end just trying to wrap up everything. So, so from data to data-driven to AI capable, Ilion is one of my clients, and this is a hotel chain. I don't know if you heard about them. They're mainly located in the south of Europe, so Portugal, Spain, Italy, and they decided in 2017 to become data-driven in their decision makings. So they decided to allow access to their team with the revenues they generate and the bookings from their data. So they provided the access to the decision makers, and then the decision makers decided on what kind of project strategy they want to do, and the goal was to make smarter decisions just based on the data. So, and at that point they didn't have like any setup for data sets, so that it was they had their own databases, but it was not in a structural way that would allow to immediately implement an AI. We focused on like two main areas: the pricing analytics, so the pricing analysis, and the real-time supply and demand. Real-time, it's supposed to be supply and demand from the online customer behavior, and measuring all those and tracking that. And that was where we focused on. And the key metrics that we decided on that we will focus on at the first was the revenue, the average room price that will show to the customer, and then the occupancy rate for each hotel. And for each hotel, then it was segmented by their market and the channel that they were like selling. And so with the data, what we got is like, after we set it up, the data, and structured in a way that we can use and implement the artificial intelligence or the algorithms that will just analyze over this data, what we were able to was to spot problems early on. So if there was like an weather-related booking that was going down, that was then the managers, they were able to see that early on and recognize that, so that they could adjust to the given situation, and that helped them to like correct their action for the next month, to plan in what they would like order in, or what they would have to get to what they would have to do to correct the situation. So, and with the data that we were also able to find out what operational areas were really impacted with things like when the weather was like, when the bookings were left out because of weather conditions or other conditions. Then we could also see or follow from the data what operational areas are really impacted from that. Is it only just the booking at the hotel itself, or is it also like the events and what other services the hotel was providing? And business-wise, what that means is, at the end, it turned out that they could do 2 new rollouts. So it turned out that with the data that we analyzed, there were like patterns that the hotel at the end decided to roll out like more the spa areas. And so they rolled out this health club, which would give anyone who would be like a member of this health club could go into the spa area and use their services for like special rates. And also they launched a laundry service, which they didn't have before. So they realized that this is something that the customer will need or is looking for, and so that they launched an extra laundry service with the data analysis. And business-wise, it also helped them to like make the decisions really like based on the factual data that was delivered. So the data would show what how the customer behavior would go. So if and show the patterns, so that will help them to make the decisions to plan for the next year or to plan for the next quarter, which services they would have to buy in more and or buy in less for the customers, and that also help them to get more processes included in the whole system. And Illinois is, as I said, is a hotel chain, so it's not a technology company at all. The only technological part is that they have a web page where you can book the rooms, and this is they are founded in 1998. It's if you compare it with Amazon, where Amazon is also an online company, but it's a technology company, and there's a 5 years difference. And with the implementation they did at this AI, they were able to exploit more data. So we set it up a system that would collect the data automatically in a way that they will immediately now use for developing the algorithm further. So with this system, that helps them to be more efficient, and that makes it over the years will also become more and more efficient for them. So at the beginning, in 1 year, we had the result that we could already see. Okay, there is a pattern with. So they created the health club and the laundry service, but with more data that they will get in now, also with the customer behavior, that will sharpen more the behavior of the customer, so they understand what services are needed. They will also be able to create new products new services for the customer, and so that evolves also their value proposition then at the end. And the AI is strategic. It's an imperative. So it's once applied and once integrated in the system, and it develops itself further systematically. It retains customer, and it will grow revenue, because you will always get more insights about, and also get early on notification if something in the market is changing, so you can adjust early on. So that also will help with the revenue. And the main factor is that it will give a competitive advantage, because if you do not become data-driven or do not pay attention to data, you will kind of at one point get out of competition, because competitors, they will definitely implement at some point also data-driven decisions in their business system. This is now an outcome from the PwC. They surveyed CEOs globally about the impact AI will have in their businesses, and 77% said it will mostly create operational efficiencies in their business. So once you apply and integrate an AI system that will give you, based on data, a support in your decision, that will also help to identify inefficiencies in the operating system of a business. And that was the main answer that all of the CEOs gave, that the operational efficiencies are going to be the most affected with integrating AI in their business. And a company today without any AI strategy is like a sailboat without a sail. Any company that is not using any data in their business decisions will very soon go also out of business, because we live in a world where everything is based on data. Data is collected from anything and everywhere, and if you do not integrate this in your business decision, everything is changing so fast that as a human being you cannot really follow up and take track on everything that is changing. and the data or AI will help to really do those decisions, at least automated in a way that it will help you in the decision-making process and in general at all. And that's why I want to talk about 6 pillars that I think are important in this field. So the important in developing AI strategy and also bringing the AI in business. And the first, I would say, is the establishing an experimental way of thinking. So with AI, it is nothing it is not in a state that is solid, because it always changes. Because we get more data, the data changes. So once the data changes, also the solutions or the results of the AI system will change. So that means that you will have to experiment constantly. Like there is not, I set it up the system and it will work and everything is fine. That is that was maybe the old way how everything worked, but it's not going to work like that any longer. That's why when you set up this AI strategy, it's very important to actually build in these experiments inside. You have to build in, when you develop a software, you have to build in the testing in different experiments. You cannot just use the standard one and expect that will help you with all the solutions, because in the data, what the AI will find out from the data, you don't know at the beginning. So since you don't know, you cannot also really just, when you just focus on one experiment and don't consider to do any other experiments, you kind of don't help yourself, because the data will always have more problems to find. So it will always develop new other experiments that are necessary. So it's always important when developing a strategy to also, like if you are in a team, to also tell the team members to really do new experiments that are not the standard and that are maybe not the norm, so that you can actually find out if there is like a hole in the system. Then you can find out with like different kind of experiments. The second pillar for the data-driven or AI-capable projects is to build an interdisciplinary data science team. This is this is something that is very to take carefully. It's with the interdisciplinary data science team is there are 2 questions under this thing. It's first of all, do I really, as a business, need my own artificial intelligence data science team, or is this not something for me? So when we think back to the example with the hotel, they are not really an IT company. So for them to have a data science team, their own in-house data science team would be too big of an effort than the result will bring out. But if you are like larger company, let's say Philips, then of course it makes sense to build your data science team. But then it's important that you have an interdisciplinary data science team, so that you take really people from different kind of backgrounds in that team. It's important to have someone who understands the data architecture, and someone who understands the algorithms, and someone who understands other parts in the IT field. So it's very important to have, like if you build a team of 5 people in one area, then it's important that they all have a different kind of background, so that they can actually like interact and intercommunicate to bring out the best results. The next pillar would be developing a robust data strategy and ecosystem. This is actually the most important part, I would say, for succeeding with artificial intelligence, because at the end of the day, at artificial intelligence, you can use a lot of algorithms, and there are a lot of algorithms being developed. But the key importance for the success of such a system is the data itself. So if you set up a good strategy to how you are collecting your data or how you are structuring your data, then you already set up the most important part for the success of your project. Because the data will, at the end, decide if you will win or lose this game. So setting up a new system will help you that you collect the data that is necessary to do those data analysis in a way that is like more automated. If you have, I will give an example like from the medical field. In the medical field, it's very difficult to just apply artificial intelligence to predict some diseases, because it's like the structures in every hospital or in every laboratory is different, so they save it in a different way, and also there is no regularities that says this doctor has to write it in this way. Every doctor has his own way of writing the diseases in every aspect. So there is no way to, it's not systematically putting the information in an order. So that makes it very, very difficult to really find out from this kind of data what the output or the result will be. So another example from the medical field is like there is a lot of success in CT scans to predict or to, at least from the scan, see where the problem zones are in a CT scan so the doctor can save time. But this is only possible because images or the CT images, scans, they are very standardized. So everything, the sizes, the colors and everything is in a standard. So once you give this data to an artificial intelligence system, that can easily find patterns in this data because it has a structure, it is very standardized, and to analyze this, it's very easy to gain results with very less data. So for example, only with 100 CT scans, you can already get a good result with like 80% accuracy. But this is not possible, or you could not do this with general information about patients. There you would need at least 200,000 or so to get an accuracy over 50%. So the data is the most important, and for setting up a new system in AI, you have like it's a benefit actually if you're setting up a new system where you're collecting the data, because then you can really decide upfront, this is the data, this is the standard that I want to have in my data, and once I define my parameters, which parameters are important for me, which data is important for my outcome, then collecting the data and bringing it to an AI system that learns itself will be much easier. So if you set up a data strategy at the beginning correctly, to collect new data, then it makes your life easier to the end. But most of the companies or bigger companies, they struggle to like do the switch to AI or data-driven decision making because they have already a lot of data and it's not structured. So they don't know where to start. So, and this is most of the time the problem why it takes longer or it doesn't happen, that this data-driven decision-making comes into the businesses. So the data is the most important, and setting up a strategy is the most important. So once you have a lot of data, then you can also like just define a strategy, how you want to systematically put this in a structure that will then benefit for the outcome that you want. So the next pillar I want to talk about is the high risk tolerance of the organization. You're laughing.
Recognizable.
So the AI itself, it will deliver results that will help and support the decision making. But the important thing here is, or to be very careful, is that you don't give too early this decision making to the AI. Because at the end, it still needs a lot of time to really develop, and once you like get started to implement this AI, and once you get first result, maybe the first 100 experiments or results will show good, give you good outcomes. But you have to still have to test it over time, and also be very careful to give, not give too early this decision making to the AI, because there some systems they will have always a feedback loop included, so that there is always a human being involved at the end decision, so that the outcome is under control. But to do that, like if you wouldn't have this system or this feedback of for the decision making, let me give you an example. So we had like this project where the to recognize keys with the image, and the keys were like a little bit specific keys, and there was like important how deep the things were in the key. So not only the key structure, but also like the depth, and there were like some rollings in the key, and the company we work with, they thought they can just like do this AI with the data one time and 2 times, and then after it shows a good result, it will not give any errors at the end, so they could like only let the system automatically not printing. What do you do with the keys? When you create the keys, it's copying. The copying of the keys. So they wanted to do it right away, automatically, with the computer system or with their machine they had, and we want them not to do that, because even if it's from image and image delivers good results, there will still be errors and some noises in the whole system that needs to be fixed beforehand, before you can really let it do it yourself. So with the key, they gave the artificial intelligence, they did like three test rounds if the keys would take. So the idea was taking a picture from the key, and this will go to the system, and the system will find automatically which key will be needed to copy, and the copy machine would just copy it and then automatically mail out the key to the customer. So they did that, and they did 3 trials, and with 3 trials it all went good. And then they said, okay, we can set this up, and then they set it up first time, and after they set it up and the customers really like were ordering the keys, they had a return rate of 20% of all keys, because the system was not ready enough. The first trials they had, they were they used some more difficult keys to test it, but the system was able to correctly identify and correctly do the copy of the right keys at their test phase. But once they implemented in the bigger system, in the larger system, where the customer is taking the picture from the key, you have more error factors coming in. So the lightning was different, and then there was like already one point where the error factor went in and the key was delivered in the wrong way, or the wrong key was copied. So they had to kind of there like switch in and then put someone into like extra So that created actually extra work, because once this information came in, they had to like double check again and let the copy machine do the copying of the key again. So it's a high risk. So before really letting the decision making completely to the AI, just give it time and test it longer than expected, because you never know, you don't know where the error will come in from. So engagement for the adaptation and established business processes, commitment to new IT practices, so you have to always bring in new IT practices, so agile and more agile and global working. That was the data strategy spectrum, just to see if you want to be more offense or defense in your strategy, depending on mostly what section you are working in, and what kind of data you are collecting, what kind of data you will have to collect. There's like defined if you want to be offensive or more defensive with your data strategy. The second part, when AI goes to hunt talents. So the new age, artificial intelligence for human resources, opportunities and functions. I'm going to talk about an example where a startup created a virtual assistant that will help in recruiting new talents, and they're using AI. And we did a test where we had their results compared with a friend of mine. She has an agency where she helps recruiting, and we compared the end results, what came out. So this startup is pretty new. So the problem is 52% for talent acquisition leaders say that the hardest part is the recruitment, is screening candidates from the large application pools. And this is I had to go through this, and it is really, really difficult. And so this startup, they say that they can screen the resumes, sourcing the candidates and shortlisting the candidates in a very quick way with their AI, and that they give good results. That is what they are promising. And Ideal, it's their name, so if you can go and try. And we tested them with a friend of mine. She has an agency with recruiting. They were faster in the matters of the data volume that they could process in a short amount of time. But as an end result, collecting and really picking out the candidates, that was the result was more average, I would say. And so what they do is actually, like they go through the whole process and try to automate everything that is like just the regular tasks, that like the repeating tasks, that they just automate everything that is repeated in this process. And so that just helps them to be faster in going through the whole data. But as an end outcome, and with the matching of the right candidate to the real right position that was described, the end result was not really as good as promised. So
how do you judge that?
Well, we did a test with the agency, and they just since they have more persons actually working with experience and having already more having the knowledge, I guess. The matching. So what we got from them as a result for the matching for the open job position was not really a fit.
Oh, in competencies. So this was kind of like on hard skills rather than on the wow factor and the soft skills.
Yeah.
Because when I screen candidates, I always only like the wow factor and soft skills. The hard skills I don't care usually.
So on the skills that was on the resumes.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, that was it was just faster just going through the process, but the end result was not giving that. what is causing the slow adoption in the recruitment field is the talent gap, the concern over the privacy, a lot of privacy issues, especially in Europe or like in Germany. They are very fixed and focused on this privacy issue in every case actually, not in human resources only. And then that you have to have the ongoing maintenance, the integration capability of those systems for human resources in the pools is difficult, and there's also limited proven applications. I was like approached by a career company, like those career web pages, and they were trying to match their applicants with the opening positions, and it is very, even if you have a large data sets like this company, it's very difficult to really define there a structure that will help the matching immediately. So you have to kind of build up a step-by-step system how you, because everybody also, if it's like an open career web page where everybody can write their own profile in, everybody understands under a same word something different, and that makes it more difficult. So that's why first of all, there needs to probably get more a standardization in before you can really get the power of AI behind this kind of system. So the main question would be, is it smart to outsource all of your AI or not? So outsourcing may be the only way to have access to AI in a cost-effective way, but there are also pitfalls that you have to be aware of. Artificial intelligence is a very wide spectrum, and for your individual need, you need maybe different kind of expertise. Most of the time it's better to hire the expertise or to outsource the expertise than really hire someone just for one expertise in the company. So that's why I am more for outsourcing the AI expertise, but it also depends on your company size, on your needs, and what really you need. And I want to talk about the pitfalls or the areas that you have to watch when you are outsourcing, the gap in expectation, because like in AI, you have to be more precise about your needs. So because it's such a like level-based, the knowledge or the expertise goes like so deep sometimes in like different very specific areas that if you are not very particular on what you need, then there might be like a gap in the expectation. The technology and the algorithm risks. This is like, I think this is in general in IT also a risk if you like with the technology, that you have to just be careful and how you predict the future-proof risk. So how do you want to make sure that once you get this expertise in, that if you need it in the future, that you get the same quality if this person is not no. It's always a risk. The integration and implementation risk. Well, this is always, I think it's like in IT, it's always like one of the main risks when you like have the integration. The legal and the reputation risk. The legal risk is possibly one of the biggest risks. in this field, and then the intellectual property risk.
What kind of legal risks? That the people that hire are sued because of bad results, or that the contractor gets sued because he's making a mess of it? So what kind of legal risk are you talking about? Or privacy?
Privacy, yeah. Yeah, so, and here I want to mention some key factors that will help with the success. The cultural fit, so a lot of outsourcing happens in like towards Asia, I want to say. And then you have to kind of make sure that there's like the cultural fit.
It applies as well on when you're outsourcing it in the same country.
In the same country? Okay, I personally didn't have this experience, but you
Yeah.
probably had more experience than I. Yeah. Technology and algorithm efficiency benchmarks. This is, I think, for me, the most important in the developing of this product, because for me, I like to set the benchmarks also very like timely, in short time, because you have to like always improve an experiment, and you have to build this in. And if you have too much time with the benchmarks, if you let like too long time distance in that can actually result that your project is not succeeding at the end. Like that's why this is like maybe the most important. The product roadmap, of course, that's I think clear, and then the responsible AI. This is again, this goes more about that you have enough testing and enough like capturing the what could go wrongs in the project. Yeah, financial health. Of course, you need to like define the budget and everything, and also like try to capture all necessary thing already in the project. I think if you have, as a project manager, you probably have more experience with that, so it's maybe for you easier than it is for me. But like for me, that was at the beginning the most difficult part. And IP ownership, that you have to be very clear with this. This is, yeah.
Where does that does EP stand for?
Intellectual property.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So, like, who is writing the code and who does it belong to? Yeah, and yeah, here's just a chart with what kind of outsourcing is generally made, and where is it readable? It's not readable. So yeah, robotic process automations, it's like in the programs. Predictive analysis, it's like the rules. It's rules-based. Deep learning, that is more when you just put in or give the data into the system, and the data learns, or the system learns from the data without you giving any rules to the system. And at the end, the fully automated artificial intelligence, that is like a step further from deep learning, where you automatically also collect the data and have the feedback loop included, everything. Pros of outsourcing: top-level AI experts, so you can get a very specific expert in one specific area, and most of the time, like when you get a real good expert, the job is also done perfectly. Most of the time, it's all good. It's difficult to find and expensive to hire, and that's why it's maybe the best to outsource. They usually in one area of expertise, there's maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people in the whole world, and then once you find them, you cannot really hire them. They usually like to do their job what they're doing. Experience and knowledge to identify both the right approach and project. That is a pro. And tap into the global network of dynamic, demand-driven data teams. So, data teams, a lot of IT teams work globally in a network, and if you have like if you can just like use one of those networks to get the expertise in your company without having to hire a person, that is a benefit. The cons of outsourcing is if like they are the experts in the technology field, but they don't have the knowledge in the sector. So if you are specifically in the banking sector and they never worked in this sector, then you need to bridge this gap between the main domain knowledge, because this is also important. Relinquish a certain amount of output and control, and assuming that that artificial intelligence will solve all the problems itself without you having to do anything. So you just give the data. This is a lot of this is actually a real expectation for a lot of people. So it's like what it is. So is it smart to outsource all of your AI? It's not an additional service, it's a function itself. So at the end, the main goal is to have it implemented in my business as my product. This is the goal. And if you I mean, it also depends on your size as a company, as a business. But if you're a bigger business, then you want to have the expertise also inside in your team. But don't try to be like Google, because I mean you cannot really. Google is like everywhere. They have all the data. They have also all the expertise, kind of. So you cannot, even if you're a big company, you cannot really have everything inside, like in-house. So you have to be like this. And then, I just went like very quickly over this part without going too much into that. And then I would then say we can go to the worksheets. I would just like kind of like go through this and get from the audience just like what.
We made a little business presentation.
Oh, really?
I'll go ahead. We're from Broad Coolness, and we're a successful ice cream chain with many ice cream shops. And our main goal is to increase sales. And what we do is we take market data, because most of the people in this town are not yet our customers, so we want to have market data, and we really dig into our customer data. One of the big things for the business case is reduce waste, which really means that we need to have good volume prediction. So it means we'll collect weather data, we collect holidays, we collect population, we probably collect big events going on. And on days that we understand will be slow, we'll have actions and to fill up actually and make sure that we don't have waste. It's data driven. There was a side project, I think that was yours, to make smaller batches, but we didn't think that that was really like a data policy, so it was scratched from this presentation, but you'll hear more about it later. Of course, we have innovative flavors all the time, every day, to increase sales, because increased sales is the most important thing, of course. So we have a database with all customer competition flavors, we have constant customer feedback, we have the little buttons. We have a website, a collector's website, and each of our chain stores, of course, has 500 flavors every day. And we change 20 of them each day, and we make sure that we change it, we have the feedback on it, and we have a collector's website. so that from the 2,000 flavors of the last 2 years, you can actually click on which of them you have tasted, how you taste it, and that you want to have more. So that's good. We have a website and all of that, of course. And the main thing is brand value building, because of Broad Coolness, you'll know, is the best ice cream company. So this is about the first two questions. It's all structured data, as you know, because that's easiest to work with. It's easy. We have all the data, market data, weather data. We have quick access. Who is responsible? Now, of course, in our company, that's the senior ice cream data scientist. And we'll do everything to have even the most simple data comply to GDPR, because those are the most strict guidelines anywhere. The ethical use of data, that's hard, because we know our visitors will follow too much ice cream eating. So we had a large discussion about how the ethics of ice cream eating would affect this data stuff, but, well, I won't go too far in that. We don't need the permissions, except for, of course, the collection website where people sign up and get more stuffed in with more ice cream. And the open and honest, we were not sure, because we knew our junior ice cream data scientist is not very honest. And being too open about the data would make that very hard. So it's really about company culture with our company. So we'll see you at Broad Coolness.
Very nice. That was actually really nice.
Yeah,
you had a question, I think.
No, just wanted to ask, like, data strategy, right? So because we started with the data strategy, and in data strategy, let's say, for example, here in the Netherlands, there is a rail company called NS.nl, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So for NS.nl, for what I was thinking, or what our group was thinking, is the data strategy is reliable and accurate information of, train information. Yeah? So that's very key, how to ensure that. So we thought of data strategy like that. Is that the right approach, or because what we heard is kind of a bit, what is your business case or business scenario being discussed in data strategy? So how to have a proper data strategy defined?
So I will just maybe give an example. If you so we're talking about rail.
Correct.
The rail company.
Yeah,
so you wanna let's say predict the maintenance of the railroads. Then.
No, what I'm saying is that as a rail company, it is always important that I provide the accurate information of the trains at any point of time on that day.
The scheduling.
Correct, scheduling.
So that they are like coming on time.
Correct.
For the
and people are searching on the internet all the time.
Okay.
So your first and foremost priority is to make sure that everybody gets this updated scheduling data from now till future.
Yeah, through the app or
through the app or the internet.
Okay.
So for me, the primary data strategy seems to be providing this reliable and accurate information to the end users of the.
Okay, so the goal is to have it up to date, like a real time information.
Information. So is that a data? Because for me that is a data strategy, right? If that is my strategy, then I can look at which are the systems I can collect the data from, and.
So this is the goal.
Yeah.
And then now I have to start from the goal and see what kind of data am I collecting, what kind of data do I need to collect extra in addition, or maybe there is data that I don't need to collect that I can leave out. You have to then break it down to the very tiny pieces, and then you know what kind of data you will have to collect. To after that, then you know, okay, this kind of data I need, and then I can set up a system where I can automatically collect this data. So the strategy is not only the goal, but also like what data do I need and how do I collect this data in an automated or in a systematic way that I can feed it in my artificial intelligence system, so it updates it itself. Does it answer the question?
Yeah.
But you can of course go more into the details and all the steps there. So data strategy is knowing the goal and then really going very in the details. What data do I need? How do I collect the data? In what kind of structure do I want to have this data? Can I use this data also in different business operations, or is it just for this?
Who does this kind of data strategy? Is it IE engineer or somebody from business can without a background? It should be somebody really.
For the strategy?
Yes.
You need to collaborate with, like you cannot, because the engineer can maybe give you the technical structure, but the business importance in what areas the data will be included is only known by the person like
So
who is doing
basically, he will translate them.
exactly. Yeah.
In the small.
Yeah.
Is that a part of defining the business catalog about data definitions, values, and those kind of things?
The strategy is more like what kind of information do you want to collect? Why do you want what do you want to do with it? What kind of decisions does management want to take based on this data for the next 5 years? And make sure that you have like 5 to 10 years history, and you don't jump between things. This year I collect this, and this year I collect this, because then you won't have a history or anything to build on.
Yeah, I understand, but my question and remark is that defining the business definitions of the data definitions, is that a responsibility of the business?
No, but strategy is more. For example, when I worked at ASML, there was a big question about logging of the machines, if that belonged to the customer or to the maker of the machine. That's data strategy. How will you work with that? And there's something to say for both of them, and you need to work it out. And that's strategic, that's commercial. And it has to do with trust of your clients, it has to do with the clients trusting you.
But sometimes works is just start with what you have data-wise, and then start working from there with your business. Because they will come up with questions once they see their data in a way, and they will come up with questions, but can we then combine that with such? Can we add that, or can we do so? It starts with, can we simple sort it or filter it, and then more questions will come up. And that's where you start considering, hey, what can we do? And so it's an exploring, it's something we need to explore.
Always experimenting.
Yeah, it's experimenting through
all the time.
the way, get new data in. Agile. Well, it's not even agile, it's exploratory. It's iteration.
Yeah, constant iteration. Yeah, it's like in all processes. Yeah.
So group was nice output.
Okay, so do you have any other questions, or is everything?
We're going to wrap up. So no more questions for Hatice? Okay, then let me have the question. Oh, sorry.
Someone with a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Didn't see you.
I'm very interested in your comments around the failure of the use of AI for hiring. So if you can get into a bit more detail of what caused the failure, is it the input, what was inputted in terms of maybe the list of, I don't know, input data you put in your algorithm, maybe you use NLP to try to fish out information from CVs, a bit more detail so we can better understand what caused the
So in the human resources, do you mean the?
So what do you know about the algorithm of the company that you benchmarked?
Do you mean this? Well, we compared this company with.
yes.
I don't know their algorithm, what algorithm they use. So
It wasn't published?
Hmm?
It wasn't published? Because this is like responsible AI you talked about. You said about responsible AI,
yeah,
about being open,
yeah.
at least about the basics, what you're doing so that people can trust you. And so you benchmarked a site that didn't do this responsible AI.
So
Proprietary information.
Yeah, but still then usually people will say it's kind of this kind of algorithm, we take into account this or that. At least in the brochure.
in the brochure, yeah, but I didn't really like check their brochure, let me say. So I don't know what kind of algorithm they use, but when they say AI, it's fundamentally it should be the very. I mean, you would expect like at least something in the
Or a
regression or
mechanical
so.
Turk.
They can just use simple least square and then like one of the fundamental. But at the end, what was the question?
What kind of algorithm did they use? What do you know
Also-
about it and why did they fail?
Well, they did not like. It was not that they failed. Like they did the going through the process fast, yes, but they were not able to give a good match as an
And so
recruit.
she asked, why was that? What do you know about this company? Why they didn't get that good match?
And so the like so we just did the comparison of what we got as a result from them and the result of what we got like from the agency, the professionals. So and they could like one-on-one match, and the result that we got from this company that did not really match with the job description. So since there was like not a match, that was like the conclusion that it's even
And
if
did
you
you
have
did
the
you put in
data.
a data set where you could find out where they went wrong? I assume you use synthetic CVs for doing that. So did you tweak a little bit about that so that you could do a design of experiment and see where their strengths and weaknesses were?
No, we did not like really do this tweaking.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
okay.
But you mentioned that it's also about how people write things on their resume or whatsoever.
Yeah,
that
that was a
matches.
different case. That was like with a career portal company, and they approached me with this question
Oh,
because
sorry.
they was developing their own algorithm, and they had this problem that they couldn't match because everybody was using words for different kind of characteristics.